What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be showing you how I wired up this head unit. I'm going to pop it back off because a bunch of people were requesting on how I wired it up. So this is the head unit I purchased off Alibaba. I'll link it below. I've had it for 3 months. It's still working fine. So it's got wireless CarPlay. Here's the climate control, works perfect. The seat, the heater and everything, the rear AC and climate control. So let's see, here's the CarPlay, the setup, bunch of apps. So let me show you exactly like where the settings are to do everything. There's the radio option. So first setting would be car info over here, and then you can go into safety, driver, all the stuff like tilting mirrors, park assist, lamp settings. These are all your car settings. So here are all the car settings you would typically use the stock head unit for. Okay, then your other settings would be in settings by clicking that on the bottom. Here's your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, this is for the reverse camera. The reverse camera, will still show your guidelines similar to the original camera. I have an aftermarket camera in this. Maybe I'll record a video of that as well. Okay. So let me show you the third settings you can go into. Everybody's password might be different depending on the brand. So here's the third type of settings you can go into. Okay, that's pretty much it. After removing the screen and the climate control, you're going to be left with this. Leave it connected to the original, you don't need it. These two to the vents, you don't need. And then this is the harness for it. These two plugs, don't need these two either, they're wired to it. You'll be left with the LCD, don't need that. Here's the new climate control. Here's the new head unit. The head unit, you're gonna have to pop off these vents from the original bezel and then put them onto here. Here's what that looks like. Here are the harnesses that you're gonna get with the kit. The only thing it's missing right here is there's one USB harness I already have pre-wired to the glove box. I don't want to remove it, it's too much work to put it back in. And then I'm not going to be using the original reverse camera. I have an aftermarket one, so that connector is also wired into the car. This is the main harness. You have your CAN bus decoder so the car can talk to the head unit. The main power wire, this is going to go into there. You have these two little connectors. You have to plug these into each other so for the CAN bus to work. You have this, which is going to go into, I believe, that connector. You have this will go into the FM AM antenna harness that's on the car. This for the antenna will plug into here. This harness will plug into here. Okay, so that's that harness. Here's a USB connector, plug it into here if you need it. I'm not using it. This is if you're going to use aftermarket amp, I believe. If you're going to use the mic, you need to plug this into the mic and plug this into the big connector over here. This is for GPS antenna if you want to use the GPS off the head unit. It's labeled right there for GPS. It's going to go there. This is to use the original USB cable that's slot that's in your center console next to an auxiliary slot. So this will plug into here. Two connector. Plug into there. And then this will connect to the car. I'll show you where it goes. If you want to use Wi-Fi on the head unit, this goes to the Wi-Fi spot right there. If you're going to use the original camera, this is going to plug into the car. This is going to plug into the harness that comes with the kit. I have it already on the car because I'm using an aftermarket camera, but you're going to need this as well if you're going to use the original camera. I'll show you that in a minute. When you originally do this, just remember you're going to have to pop this open from the top. It stays connected at the bottom. Just pop it off from the top. There's one hex screw. Take it off, and then you have to pull this up. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get the stock climate control stuff out. And then on top of that, you have to pop open these that only held on by Velcro on both sides. And then there's a Phillips head over there. Got to remove it. Right there. You're gonna have to remove this on both sides to get the climate control out. Let me show you what you're left with after you move everything. You're gonna have this for the vent actuator on one side, this for the right side. You're left with this harness. The top one is unneeded. This one is for the hazard lights. So it's gonna go to the bottom behind the climate control. So let me show you where that goes. That goes to the bottom plug right here. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this, tuck it in from the back, and have it right there, okay? And then we're gonna take the original stuff, this big harness. So over here, this is for the rear camera if you're gonna use the original one. If you're gonna use the original one, you're gonna take this that's applied and plug it into that. If you're gonna use the original one, then you're gonna take this that comes with the new head unit. You're gonna take this and you're gonna plug the RCA from this into this. Why is I wired up a new camera, so instead I'm plugging this into the harness from the original from the new camera I have wired up, and I had to solder this to the new camera. You're not going to need to solder anything if you're using the original. All you have to do is just plug that into there, plug this into here. This doesn't connect to anything. These don't connect to anything. This is not original. This is off. This is for the USB cable for the aftermarket head unit. What I did was I put this through from the glove box right here, put it through to have over here. This won't be here when you're doing your install. If you want to connect a USB cable to the head unit to charge all this stuff, install this. Now we're left with these. Like I said, camera. This is the main power harness and the speaker wire. You have to connect this. Let me show you what that connects to. That connects to this. Over here, you'll have these. One's for the radio, one's for the GPS. White one is for the AM, FM radio. Yellow one is for the GPS on the stock unit. You won't need the GPS on the stock unit because the aftermarket head unit will use this if you're going to use it on the aftermarket head unit. I'm not using this, so I won't need this. Regardless, whether you're going to use GPS or not, if you're using GPS on the aftermarket head unit, you connect that. If not, you leave this disconnected regardless, and then the white one, will go here. These are your aux and the USB cable connectors. Now what you're going to want to do is, after tucking the top USB cable, down and leaving that one unplugged, not needed for anything, you're going to take the main harness stuff, and then these you have to tuck up. So all of these have to get tucked up. Okay. That main harness is here. Hazard lights, only one that gets tucked downward. That's right there. These all right here. This is USB, goes to there. Right vent actuator, left vent actuator. This goes to my original, my aftermarket camera. This goes to the back of the head unit. Let me start off by the stuff I'm not going to use. GPS antenna that connects to this right here. I'm not using this. I use Apple CarPlay. Okay. You have this. That'll connect right there. This has the mic connector for the mic, which I'm not using the mic, so I don't need that. This is your Wi-Fi antenna. Connects over here. I'm not going to use this regardless, so don't need that. This is another USB connector that connects over here. I'm not using this USB connector. I have one pre-wired over here that goes to there. This also came with the kit. This is another harness you're going to get. Like I said, this is for the original backup camera. If you're going to use the original backup camera, this connects to the black connector. And then this comes with the new harness. You're just going to plug RCAs into each other right here, into there. This is the RCA I ran for my new backup camera. For the new backup camera, I have to wire this to each other. For the old one, you don't. Just RCA to RCA and plug that in. If you want the USB cable here down to work, you're going to take this, plug into the gray one, not the black one, the gray one, to get the USB connector working. Next up, take your hazard light harness. Take your main harness with the CAN bus decoder. First thing you should do, plug these two small connectors together for the CAN bus decoder to work. With those two plugged together, now you have this that'll connect into the top for the climate control. So what you're gonna have to do with this is tuck this through the bottom. Okay, so now at the bottom, you're gonna have this. Next up, install the climate control. You're gonna have these two at the bottom. Everything's tucked up top. Just plug those two into these. Now that they're both wired in, connected, to take this, slide it down. Okay. With the two side screws holding it in place and the two top screws, it's finished connecting up the main harness. So this, we're going to connect it to the big white plug, still from the main harness. This, we're going to connect to the white plug over here for the radio. Now here's what you're going to be connecting there. You're going to be connecting the left and the right vents to the side connectors. I would do those last since they're the shortest cables. Camera connects into the one of the bottom ones. USB cable, one of the bottom ones. Main power harness connects into the black connector right there. This to one of these. A USB cable as well into one of those. For the radio, into the antenna there, self-explanatory. The biggest tip I can give you guys is I use the original clips off the original bezel, off the vent bezel. So what you're gonna do is pop off these original clips off the vent bezel. For the aftermarket head unit, the bottom two, I pre-installed them onto this. For the top four, I put them on here. What I originally did was I did pre-install them on here, but would never click in right into the head unit, into the spot, until I removed them and I put them in the dash. And now it holds on really strong to a point where it was very difficult to even pop this off to do this entire video. Also, try to throw in like a microfiber towel of some sort over here to connect the climate controls and the shifter while you're installing the head unit. This is what everything looks like right now. Make sure to connect the vents on both sides before you fully install it. Put the car in accessory, make sure everything works, the radio works, the climate control works, and then fully seat it. Should all clip on. If you didn't previously have the routine maintenance overdue message, it's because your date is wrong. So what you're gonna have to do is go into your settings, system and apps, date and time, click that. It's gonna be clicked off. You're gonna click there, click the correct date, put the correct time, and then make sure to click this again. And then your time will change. So if say you change the time over here to whatever random time, it'll change up here, and then you'll also change that over there, but make sure to re-click this. Otherwise, if you don't re-click that, every time you start it's going to say some different time on it. After putting the date and time, no more message. After you're done, your steering wheel control should work, both sides. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to answer them if I can. Thanks, bye.